Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Yeah.
Oh, happy Wednesday, y'all. Welcome to Run It Back. Michelle, Chandler, Lou, Boogie. We had a rundown, and then I don't know what happened out there in Atlanta in the middle of the night, Lou, but you were on it, which, by the way, weird hours. And you immediately got on the text thread and said, I guess we're changing up the whole show because in the night, the Clippers announced that Chris Paul is no longer with the team. They're parting ways. He also posted a very sort of cryptic short post as well. In a statement, Lawrence Frank said, quote, "We are parting ways with Chris, and he is no longer on the team. We will work with him on the next step of his career." He also emphasized that no one is blaming Chris for the Clippers' struggles. Keep in mind, they're out there in Atlanta to play the Hawks later on today. Lou, I'm going to start with you. You're our guy when it comes to all things Clippers. What the hell just happened, sir?
Yeah, just talking to a few different people over there and just trying to understand what transpired in the early morning hours of this team being in Atlanta. But from what I've gathered, that brought an end to this abruptly was there was a few scenarios, and which CP was holding people accountable from players to staff, from coaching staff up to the front office. And, from what I understand, there was a situation where he even addressed the team and apologized and said, look, my criticisms are coming from a good place. I want us to be a good team. I want us to get this thing right. And he was just holding guys accountable. Now, how some of that talk was taken or interpreted, that's up for the players and the coaching staff that was involved and how they felt about it. And then down the line, there was another scenario where he was critical of front office as well, and I think that was the one that broke the camel's back. That was the straw that broke the camel's back when he had some criticisms for the front office as well. I think that's what brought this to a head in the early hours in Atlanta. Like I said, I'm in Atlanta. The Clippers are in Atlanta. It was about 3-something in the morning. For whatever reason, I was up, but I was up, and and that's what I was understood. But for a player who's gonna go down as a Hall of Famer, for somebody who's gonna possibly have the opportunity to be the first jersey retired in the Raptors over there at the Intuit Dome and be the first to represent Lob City and be the first person to represent the Clippers in that manner. This is just a sour way to go out. It looks bad on the Clippers' part to do this in the late night hours. It looks bad for Chris Paul. It looks bad for all parties involved. And I'll let you guys get in there a little bit. But this is another L. Frank thing. When a team is playing bad, when you're losing, and Boogie can attest to this, Chandler can attest to this, everybody's talking trash. Everybody got something to say in the locker room when teams are losing. And, when you – uh-oh.
Y'all leave us. Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, my thing was saying that it was muted. But, these guys know, listen, when you're losing, everybody's talking trash. Everybody got something to say, and everybody is being critical of the scenario at hand. So if that's the only thing that Chris Paul was guilty of at this point in his career, he deserves to have something to say. And this is not something that you can't waive him until January, and you can't trade him until December 15th. But to have a guy like that go home in his last season in this manner, it's a bad look all the way around the board. But that's what I gathered. This is what this is all about. Him holding people accountable, and however they interpreted that is however they interpreted it.
Yeah, I think just the timing of it is strange, right? Obviously in the middle of the night and the beginning half of the season here, and we're talking about Chris Paul, arguably the greatest Clipper of all time. Like Lou said, jersey's probably going up in the rafters, first one ever, first ballot Hall of Fame player. And so the timing of it is weird, and who it is makes this a story and makes this interesting. By no means is Chris Paul the reason that the Clippers are 5-16. He's playing 14 minutes a game. He's only played 16 games, and he's averaging 3 points a game. It's not like this is an issue with why they're bad. This clearly is an internal issue. This is frustration boiling over, where clearly Chris Paul, like Lou alluded to, kind of jumped the guys in a film session or a shoot around or something like that, trying to rally them. And I think with a vet group, that probably didn't go over well, and guys are frustrated and guys are banged up and they're losing a lot of games. So this is a huge surprise to me. Definitely didn't see it happening, especially with him going back to the Clippers, where he is probably the best player of all time there. To do this, in early December after a frustrating, horrific start is just shocking. And again, I hate to see this for him. I don't think this is the last we see of him. I hope it's not, because he deserves better, and I want to see him go and play somewhere else on one of these teams that we talked about all season long that need a point guard. But it's just a bad way. It'd just be a bad way to end his Hall of Fame career. And I wish I had info on it or more details on it, but it's all just very surprising and shocking.
Man,
Boogie. It's a lot.
Words of Draymond, they don't love you like that, and this is this is so apparent in this situation. I can't sit here and say I agree with it. I think this is complete BS. He is one of the greats in this game. He's probably one of the last great pick and roll PGs to ever play this game. He put the Clippers on the map, him and Blake Griffin. I just feel more respect is deserved in this situation. And the real issue I have with all of this is the same reason you love them is now the reason you hate them. Throughout his entire career, this is what Chris Paul was highlighted for, being that voice, holding people accountable, being a leader in the locker room. For the young guys, for the old guys, he held everybody accountable, and that was something that they loved about him. Now you move into this situation, and he's at a different point in his career, and now it's being turned into a negative. And that's the part I hate about the NBA, and I hate how they do veterans towards the end of their careers. It's like your experience, your knowledge, your advice no longer means anything because, you're on your way out of the league, when it shouldn't be that way at all. It should actually be the complete opposite. And I know I've been critical of CP in the past, and, I still hate the shit out the guy, but at the end of the day, he deserves his flowers, and you can never knock him for being one of the greats in this game. First ballot Hall of Famer, no question. Like Lou said, this is an L. Frank move. I've seen it time and time again. I actually experienced it firsthand. I've watched him end multiple careers for veteran guys that should have been able to, go out on a better note. Lou can even speak on that as well. It's just something about this guy and his short man syndrome, and he's an egomaniac. And it's complete BS. And it is what it is. I'm not on that side anymore. So I say what I want, I say how I feel.
Yeah, you were always quiet, Boogie. So I'm glad you're.
Why we signed you, Boogie? Let it rip.
Like I said, I don't agree with this. This is a bad look for the Clippers. If I'm the owner of the Clippers, I'm looking, at L. Frank and how this makes my organization look. Obviously, Chris Paul being one of the biggest legends to ever put on that uniform. If you treat him that way, is anybody really deserving of respect when it comes to that organization? And I just feel this is a stain on this Clippers organization.
Now, can I ask you guys a question? Can I ask you guys a question? Because is there a world where this is like a mutual decision? Like when I was playing in Memphis,
that time of the night.
No, you can tell by CP's post that this isn't.
No, I'm just saying. Do you think they were like, listen, you're never gonna play, you're not gonna play. You can either ride it out or just.
But didn't he know that?
That's not what this is. Did you see what CP posted?
Yeah, I did. I'm just saying, like, there's been situations. There's been situations where teams give players like ultimatums and say, listen, you can be here, you can do this, you can be another coach. Not obviously not Chris Paul. You could go to the G League, you could do this, or you could go home. You don't think this is that situation?
Nah,
listen, I'm willing to bet my money. L. Frank isn't on this trip. And again, it's 3:30 in the morning in Atlanta. We're talking about a future Hall of Famer. You're talking about the guy that you have possibly chosen to be the first person to go up in the rafters to represent you as such, So listen, my experience with the Clippers organization, A1, A+, great relationships over there. Love Ballmer, love everything about what he's been able to build and what he represents and what he's trying to represent and build as a culture. A lot of these incidents are coming down to an isolated person, and that person is in charge of a lot of these decisions. You just don't do a guy of that stature like that. Okay, he's at the end of his career. He's not producing at the level that you want or expected him to in year 20. What is this, 2021, season 2021? And you tell him to go home in the middle of the night. You just don't do that. So for me, this isn't a Clippers thing. It's an isolated issue with L. Frank in the way that he's gone about treating certain players that he feels like has been disrespectful or not on the same page with him. He has a way of doing business with these guys and
flat out kissing his ass.
It's bad optics.
It's just bad optics. So I want to make it clear, this isn't a Clippers thing. I was a part of building culture there. I was a part of trying to make them a respected organization in the city of LA when you're sharing that fan base with clearly a Lakers town. I was a part of that. But there's one particular person in these scenarios who is the common denominator for how things look in the optics when it comes to these type of situations.
So how does he still have a job? Like, I don't. You guys have more experience with him than us.
I mean,
that's a great question.
I might not be qualified to speak on that part, so I don't know. That's over my head.
Chandler, you're going to learn that in this business, a lot of people that shouldn't have jobs keep jobs for a really long time and continue to be promoted.
I don't remember last thing
I've heard something good about him. I've never heard someone be like, oh, you know what I mean? And I don't know him at all, but I just don't understand where the value is.
This is my issue. Like, what qualifies you in that position to just end career after career after career of high quality players when you haven't achieved anything in your position or any position that you've ever been in the NBA? You've never been a championship GM, championship coach, what qualifies him to be able to do these type of things to different players in their careers? That's my issue with this. Like, what have you proven to be able to end a career? It makes no sense to me. Yeah. Like, even in the short out there, you haven't done anything.
Yeah, it's just kind of like it's kind of like a slap on the back on your way out type of thing. I was present when Blake Griffin was traded. My personal situation. This is a person that told me I can relax. I'm not getting traded. 15 minutes later, I was an Atlanta Hawk. And now we have this scenario. So, and you guys been working for me. This is going on year 3 now. I've held my tongue and not been critical of L. Frank because that's not really my style. And I didn't want to be the scorned ex-girlfriend. I didn't want to be that person. And so I never spoke about him in this manner. But when you do this to a guy, and I'm gonna keep harping on it, that 3 was going up in the rafters. That 3 was going up. And you do this to that guy? Like, okay, cool, he's talking shit. Okay, cool, he got a lot to say. Chris Paul has always had a lot to say. You know what you're signing up for when you sign Chris Paul. He's always had a lot to say. You know that. He's an acquired taste. So now that he's talking and you're the target of talking, you release him or you tell him to go home in the middle of the night on the road. Come on, man, you don't do that. That's bad business. It's bad optics. But this is the person that's represented. And again, are we going to get an L. Frank press conference this week? Is he going to stand out in front of the cameras and take questions and yield questions about the state of where this team is right now? Is he going to do that? Or is he going to hide behind the shadows and allow somebody else to stand in front of the camera and not hold those questions? These are answers that we need to know. At this point, let's take the gloves off and let's get this thing situated and let's get it all figured out.
I think the timing also, Chandler.
Stack of books and make them speak up.
And there's that one. There's a punchline. By the way, this is like a week or so removed from a video and, hey, he announces his retirement. It was all very feel good in the building, which is, I think all of that is what makes this weird.
Wasn't part of the plan, I'll tell you that.
No, and Ballmer's a pretty loyal guy, Lou. So I'm at the end of the day, he ultimately has the control of everything, no matter what L. Frank does or doesn't do. So this will be curious to see how this gets handled.
Yeah, listen, as far as Steve Ballmer is concerned, I got zero amount of criticism for him. Anything that he said he was going to do or be a part of, for me individually, he held his word, and he's been a man of his word. And I feel like Steve Ballmer is a person of high character, and I love working side by side with him for the 4 or 5 years that I did. So listen, obviously he knows and he understands and he signs off on these decisions, but it's one person that sits at that table that makes these decisions, and especially emotionally. Like this couldn't wait till this morning where you have a conversation with this person and not do this in this manner. Like, again, I'm on the outside looking in. I'm speaking as a fan. I don't know how the players feel about how this went down. I don't know how coaching staff and the medical staff and the people that Chris works side by side with when you're on a team every day, how they feel about him. I don't know. I'm speaking about what I've experienced around L. Frank and the way that he's conducted business with his players and how this looks. I don't love it. This is beyond disrespectful for a Hall of Fame player, man.
I mean, it's 3 a.m. there. It's midnight here. It just reeks of a heated conversation with a bunch of words that can't be taken back. Like that's what it feels like for anybody who's ever been in a relationship. All right, Chandler, I'm going to start with you because, Lou mentioned the fact that there are some dates that are arbitrary dates that have to be met before he can even be moved. If that was to happen, do we see him on a court again?
I hope so. Like everything we just said, this is not the way I want to see Chris Paul go out on his Hall of Fame career. I want to see him go out on top, playing, contributing. And I still think that he could be an asset in the right situation. You look at these teams that we've mentioned all year long that are struggling at the point guard position. Why wouldn't Minnesota go and beef that up? Why wouldn't Houston go and add just another, bring him back there and have a vet presence? Why wouldn't Detroit, kind of take a flyer and have him as a vet in that locker room with everything that they're kind of producing over there? So I do think there's teams where he can find value. I don't know the whole situation here of what happened, and I'm sure more details will come to light here, but this just doesn't feel right that he just announced his retirement a couple weeks ago. Now he's being sent home in the middle of the night, and we're talking Chris Paul. We're talking a first ballot Hall of Famer. So I can't imagine he's a scrappy, competitive dude. I imagine he still wants to play. He only played 16 games. Like I said, he only played 14 minutes. So that's not, I don't know what level you're going to get with him, but I still think that he holds some value and he can be an asset to one of these playoff contending teams to kind of give them some minutes in a playoff series, give them some leadership in that locker room, give what he was doing in LA for the Clippers to a younger building team that might take it a different way than this.
Like he just did in San Antonio. He played every game last season. Like it is something that works. Yeah.
I don't know, but I hope he's not done because I think he's still got a lot more to give.
What do you think, Boogie?
Yeah, I'm hoping this isn't the end of the road. And, obviously this is his last season. He's announced that. But like I said, I hope this isn't the end of the road where it ends like this. He's deserving of a lot more. We all obviously have spoke highly of Chris Paul on his career. Like we said, Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Famer. He deserves way better than he's receiving right now. Do I think another team will pick him up? Absolutely. Just his knowledge and presence alone, his leadership alone can help any locker room, any type situation, especially these teams with young PGs. I could see him fitting in with Orlando and really helping with that PG, spot in the absence they kind of have there. So I do think it's, places that make sense and could really use his presence. But for me, I just think it's completely unfair to him because I felt like this season was kind of planned out for him to end a certain type of way. He wanted to end his career in LA, where his jersey will be retired. So it just sucks that he has to, deal with it in this manner. But I do believe somebody will, give him a deserving chance and let him go out the way he should.
Would you even want to? Listen, Gal, can y'all really imagine being I played 17 seasons. I can't imagine. I play for the Atlanta Hawks, my hometown team. I can't imagine them sending me home in the middle of the night in my last season that I've announced, and I've put this feel-good story. I'm on my way out. I can't imagine them doing this to me. So looking at the Clippers and doing this to Chris Paul, man, it pissed me off. I'm sorry.
I agree.
Be mad. Be mad. Keep that anger. By the way, men real sloppy in the last 24, 48 hours, guys. You have to speak for all of them when we come back, because then we got the Giannis stuff on the other side. So dramatic. We'll talk about that next.
Run it back, run it up, run it back.
All right, so got to address the other elephant in the room. So we know that the Bucks lost to the Wizards the other night. We talked about it, but after that, Giannis scrubbed. Oh, you love a good social media scrub. His account basically of most things Bucks related, minus a few NBA Cup posts and a couple of NBA ABA situations there. Chandler, I'm gonna start with you because I love a passive aggressive crash out.
I'm gonna start with you because you've definitely done this before.
Oh no, I never post pictures of the person in the first place, so I don't have to erase it later. No, 101.
All right, fine. I'm a victim of doing this. This is a classic scrubbing your ex from your life, from social media. You don't, although it's known, you don't really want the next one to see it or to be able to go back and scroll through. So is it petty? Yes. Is it something here? We don't know. But if it is something, it's not good. Like it's definitely not a good thing that he's going back and deleting it. And again, I think we're overanalyzing this. And now we're digging into someone's social media, which is weird. But this is what you do in 2025. But it's not good, and it's clearly a problem. Clearly there's frustration, and look, there should be. There was somewhat expectations for this team, and they're 9-13, and they're coming off a horrible loss against the Wizards, and now they're back home and have the Pistons tonight, who are the number 1 seed in the East. So I think it's not going to get easier for this team. There's going to all the trade rumors are going to continue to get louder for this guy, because teams will line up at the door and throw the kitchen sink to get Giannis on their team. And they know right now is the time to pounce. Right now is the time that they are desperate. Right now they're having, front office meetings of, listen, do we completely rebuild? Is he going to ask for a trade? Is he going to force our hand? He's kind of done everything for this city and this franchise. So he kind of has them by the balls right now. And so this is just a bad situation where your star player and your all-world everything is frustrating and scrubbing his social media. It's funny to say and petty, but it's definitely not a good thing that he did this.
Yeah,
You know what?
I don't think I needed, him to scrub his Instagram for me to figure out he wants to be moved. I think
Fair
it's
enough.
just time. This isn't a great season. They didn't put a good roster around them. It's not really much to look forward to, moving forward. So I think it's time for a perfect breakup. I think it's a situation where, we're better off, alone in this situation, to where the Bucks moving forward will obviously start their rebuild, and they'll start moving into a fresh start. And the same thing will happen with Giannis with whatever his next move is. So I think it's best for both sides. I think it's just time. Giannis is a superstar player in this league. Every season is a championship or bust type season for him, because his talent is that high, and he's that much of he has that much impact on games to where, like I said, they're competing for a championship every single season. So that's not the situation here in Milwaukee, and I'm sure he's looking for his next to figure out where he can win another.
You know what, y'all? Let me play devil's advocate. What if he generally just scrubbed his Instagram and those posts happen to be part of the scrub? Like, all of us can agree that we've all deleted a bunch of stuff off our social media
Never.
at some point, and
Like I'm never gone back and done any of that.
Caught up in it? No,
No.
I'm tripping. No,
Tripping.
All right, well, I tried.
Hold on.
But what I-
2021, it went back, by the way. He went back to 2021.
Yeah, and
Like,
he's
that's
not
like,
the dude. He's not the dude taking sleeping pills, getting lit, just doing this. This is a
what is
sober.
wrong?
This is a sober, premeditated move where he is scrubbing pictures of his current team. It's definitely
Like,
not
he's
a
aware.
good thing. Yeah, no
But
doubt.
you know what? With that being said, outside of that, we haven't heard him have very much to say when it comes to the Milwaukee Bucks and what's going on. He's allowed the powers to be to deal with this behind the scenes. He's allowed his representation to speak directly with the representation of the team, and that's where these narratives are coming from. We know how the media works. From Giannis' side, they're going to plant their stories to make it look good for him, and the Milwaukee Bucks, they're going to start planting their stories to make it look good for them. Classic breakup story, classic everybody's going through it, so everybody's trying to protect their best interests right now. But you know what I said about Ja Morant. Don't play these things out in the public. You'll never win that argument. You'll never win that war when it comes to the media. So I like what Giannis is doing. Allow the narratives to be the narratives. Continue to play basketball. Do everything that you need to be. Be the role model that you are. Everything that you represent, and just stay quiet and let everything play out.
Okay, but hold on, because now I have to push back a little bit. As a fan, right? Like, is there much of a difference between Giannis coming out and saying, I would like to be traded, kindly, or passive aggressively just sort of scrubbing all things related to the team for which I cheer? Like, I kind of feel like I'm hurt either way.
But like, that's an Easter egg for y'all to find. Like, we talking about him going back to 2021. Like, who went back to 2021 and saw that?
Who realized that?
It was nobody like us. It was.
But we always find out. Like, this is not the first, nor will it be the last.
You think Giannis put up a post and said, "Hey, check out my new scrubbed Instagram of everything outside"?
No, that's the passive aggressive part.
Say, "Hey, look, he unfollowed this person. Let me see what else I can find." Like, I don't put much stock into that.
Lou, but he knows.
It's the world we live in now. Unfortunately, where that matters. Again, like, if he were to follow the Knicks right now, it would break the internet, Lou, which is pathetic, but it's true.
Yeah, but you don't. But you don't. And only certain people tell you what's going on with those type of scenarios. I don't care. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not looking at Giannis. Like, which one of us is going back 3 years in Giannis Instagram to see what he's still got on his page? None of us.
None of us. No. But there are people who cover the team for a living who realize the cloud that's lingering, and so you're on high alert.
For a living, those are the people I'm talking about. That's what they're supposed to do.
I'm grateful.
A Milwaukee Bucks fan ain't doing this.
If I know that my star player, I don't know, dude. If I know my star player is probably going to leave here soon, and I'm on high alert.
A season ticket holder ain't sitting at home looking at Instagram trying to find ways to see what's going on with Giannis.
I kind of love the idea.
Beadle, to answer your question, I don't think there's a win situation for him. If he asks for a trade, he's going to be a bad guy. If he does this, we're going to be thinking he's petty and passive aggressive. So there's really no way to play this besides have your agent continue to do what he does and you play and put up the numbers you're playing and do everything you can and leave it on the floor. That's how you kind of get out of this situation and let the chips fall as they may. But there's really no proper way to ask to get out of a horrible situation.
No, but the good news is now we get to play Destination Dreams. Look, before anybody gets on us about trades and what can and cannot happen, just shut it. Let us live, because we're going to have some fun here trying to figure out where he goes next. Michelle Beadle obviously had the New York Knicks 2 years ago on this list, Lou, but let's talk about this. We know we're not going to get into the specifics. We know he loves New York. So maybe you get an OG Bridges, some picks. I don't know. Maybe we go as far as Cat. I can't even fathom that right now. But to see him in that uniform, in that building, 40-plus games a season, how are we feeling about that?
It sounds great for the Knicks. On the other side, like, if you're Milwaukee, you got to bring me back up. You got to bring me back a top 10 guy. Like, you got to bring me back some pieces that make sense for my fan base where I can be able to look at them in the face and justify moving him. It can't just be really good role players and some draft picks. Like, you got to bring me back somebody that this makes sense. You know, look at it. Dame Lillard exits last year, and you possibly have Giannis as well. And we're talking about a league full of star power, and we're talking about a fan base that's they've drank the Kool-Aid already. They've already won a championship. They know what this looks like. You can't just bring in really, really good role players. You got to bring me a star back. You got to bring me a top 5, top 75 guy back for somebody who's been in the MVP conversation for as long as we can remember in his career. So for the New York Knicks, it sounds amazing. What does it look like for the Milwaukee Bucks? So with that, I don't know if this works.
So we're not tempted by Cat. Okay, go ahead, Boogie.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, Lou hit it on the head. For the Knicks, it's exciting. I think the Garden will be rocking. It'll be I think it'll be a hot spot for a lot of, free agents and role players to try to get there and, fill out those spots. So I think it will be great for the Knicks. But obviously for Milwaukee, I don't see much of a return. I mean, obviously you'll get picks back, but I mean, that's not really equivalent to what you're losing in that situation and losing Giannis. So I mean, yeah, it would be great for the Knicks. It would be exciting. I would actually love to see a Giannis and Brunson combo. I think it would be great
Okay.
for New York basketball. But
So we could send Cat to Milwaukee plus
Yeah,
others.
I mean, listen, if you look at those three teams, the Knicks, the Warriors, the Lakers, I think the Knicks have them attractive pieces to get back. But again, before we go and do this, we're just playing a game. But remember what Desmond Bain just brought in. Remember what Rudy Gobert
That's what I'm
brought
saying.
in. The Paul George trade. So yes, teams are going to live and learn, but it's going to take a lot to get Giannis.
Yes.
So when you look at the Knicks, whatever situation is, it's going to be picks. But if I'm a team, if I'm the Bucks, I want 2 or 3 starters back for this guy, which I think the Knicks could do more so than the Warriors.
I want one of them to have a bunch of all-star patches too on his jersey.
Yeah, and throw in an assistant coach and a trainer and his trainer and
a car.
And
what are you
know
doing?
what? Yeah. And damn well his brother's coming too, so save a roster spot for him. So
Great point.
it's going to take
3 roster spots. You need 3.
There's probably another one we don't even know about that's also going to need a two-way.
For New York? Hell yeah.
It needs – I think it'd be great for the league. I think it would be great for Giannis. It would be spectacular for the Knicks. And if you compare Giannis and Jalen Brunson – by the way, I just want to know how that call goes. Like, do the Bucks even ask for Jalen Brunson, or they know he's off?
Yeah, you have to.
Because I would start
ask.
with him. I would start with him and then say – and maybe. But that's not happening. So then you look to, Bridges, Cat, OG – Deuce, a guy like Jordan Clarkson. Like, there are some attractive assets there for the Bucks to kind of not go through a full rebuild if they do this, but it's going to take a lot of future picks. It's going to take
Chandler,
a lot to get a guy like Giannis.
Get it.
Really, 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 really good players. Really, really good role players that you just named. But if I'm the Milwaukee Bucks fan base, are we getting excited about that crop of guys replacing Giannis, though?
No interest in Cat. Cat doesn't move the needle for you?
It didn't seem to. I mentioned it 3 times.
I'm thinking of public fanfare. This feels good for us to move on. Look, if you bring in anything less than Giannis level, I think you have a revolt with the fan base.
But Giannis level is like 4 dudes. Like, they're not going anywhere.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. But
can I play the devil's advocate again as the fan? Having been a fan of a team that lost someone for nothing, basically, that's the other fear. As you get closer and closer to when he can leave, you're going to lose him for nothing. So I also don't want that to happen.
So, okay, what about like a team like San Antonio or Houston with more young assets that could become stars? Do you like something like that better than
talk to me?
Now we're having a different
different conversation. Absolutely.
So at least the future can be bright there. Right now, you know what you're getting. You know you're going to be middle of the pack team. You bring on a Bridges, an OG, a Cat, whatever. But now you throw in Jabari Smith, and you throw in, these Thompson, and you throw in
Whoa.
You throw in
Chandler,
I don't think Houston's
Thompson.
Yeah, to your point, Chandler, you got to throw in at least one guy that this organization and fan base can look at and say, possibly in 2 or 3 years, we might be back on. If you don't do that, I don't know if it works for anybody.
Give me put Stephon Castle in that deal. I think that gets Milwaukee going a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? Put a star like that in the making where there's something to look forward to, and meanwhile can get enough to still stay afloat and win games. Then I think Milwaukee is onto something, but it's going to take a boatload.
Okay, so that's interesting because those are obviously teams that are realistically we could think about as well. But then you've got the teams that always sort of seem to chase the big guys. And I'm looking at you, Lakers, because they do this. They pulled a monster trade off last time and brought in a superstar. So let me ask you this: if you figured out a way, and again, reality doesn't have to play a huge part in this, but if you could figure out a way to bring Giannis here, Boogie, I don't even know how many guys you give up from the Lakers. What does that look like? And who?
Man, you putting Giannis next to, Luka. That's scary. That's a scary thought. That's a matchup nightmare on a nightly basis. But my question would be who would be giving up? Obviously, a guy like Austin Reeves' name would pop up, but I think it kind of goes back to the same kind of, conversation. Is that enough? And Austin Reeves is playing at a high level. He has a great chance of making his first All-Star this year. But, from a Milwaukee, fan base, is that enough? And, with just that alone, obviously you'll get, throw some picks in, guys like Connect, maybe Rui. but I don't know if that's enough either.
Hmm.
I think it is. I think it's better than any other, situation. I mean, with the Knicks, obviously Golden State. I think that's the best situation, but I still just don't know if that's enough.
Oof, man, I disagree. I think if the Lakers and Warriors have nothing that I want in return for Giannis, yes, Austin Reeves would be good. Then you look at the Warriors, maybe like a Kuminga and a bunch of picks and stuff, but like
That's tough.
I'd rather Cat. I'd rather that all-star caliber player you're talking about, and then Bridges and someone like that than Austin Reeves
fair.
and having a great year. But I just it's physically impossible for the Lakers. So, but we're just playing the game here. I just don't see it. I don't see the pieces coming back to be enough to equal Giannis. Obviously, Austin Reeves would have to be in that trade. But what you gonna put LeBron? Like you gonna put LeBron to? I don't even know how this is.
That's
That would
amazing to
be
even say out
hilarious.
loud.
Yeah,
Doesn't
like that'd
sound
be
right.
funny. But I just don't see this happening. I really don't.
No, the younger teams I feel like seem like a more realistic destination.
The younger ones are the sexier ones because you can still win and compete and make playoffs while the future is bright and you're grooming your next franchise star. So like the Warriors, the Lakers, the Knicks, it's all just like a lateral move to stay afloat. You need pieces to excite you in the fan base.
Yeah, I like the San Antonio of that all. Thank you. Taking a quick break. We got more to talk about on the other side. We'll be back.
Run it up, then run it back, run it back, run it up, run it back.
Oh, look, a game. Don't look now. Thunder continue to be awesome. No big deal. SGA with his 38 last night in a win over the Warriors, 124-112. Jalen Williams, of course, he's back, 22.6 assists. Pat Spencer, 17, 6 assists off that bench. And Draymond with 13, 9, and 4. No Steph, no Horford. Jimmy Butler actually left this one in the second quarter, unfortunately. But it's the Thunder's show right now, Lou. We got to talk all things OKC. I've sort of run out of things to say. They didn't have Caruso last night. No Hartenstein, no Dort. Does not seem to matter. So what other compliments can we possibly give them? What is going to be the thing that is able to stop them at some point, if anything?
You know what? I watched the post game last night, and I really liked what Draymond said about them because it pained him to even admit it or say it. But he basically came to grips that OKC was here to stay, and this was their moment. This is their time. And, he went on to talk about you have to have so many things go right and in your favor and have some luck on your side to be a dynasty, to win multiple championships. And he went down a list of things that they need. And he said, unfortunately for us, they have it all. They have depth, they have health. And even when they're not healthy, it looks like that's not a problem for them because they still rolling. They have camaraderie. They got great coaching. They got a great fan base. They check all of the boxes to be a dynasty and to be a team that you got to deal with. Even if you blow this team up, they can come right back with a brand new team that's just equally as competitive with all of the assets that they still possess. So I don't really have a lot more compliments at this point. I'm just enjoying the way that they play and the way that they compete and go about business.
Yeah, I mean they're first in defense, which travels regardless, and they're fifth in offense, and they have so many different ways to hurt you. And depth, the depth is insane. Like a lot of these names you haven't heard of that you're getting more familiar with, but it doesn't matter who's in the lineup that night because there's just a system, and they all know their roles, and they all defend no matter what. So even when SGA's out or Jalen Williams misses the first 18 whatever games. It doesn't matter because it's next man up mentality, and they know when their number's called, they are ready to play. And that Dagnall has just created this culture of unselfish, just share the basketball, play hard, and that's going to win you a lot of games. And obviously, it starts with the big three and SGA and Jalen and Chet, but this team is built to win a championship now, and this team is built to win a lot of games in the regular season when you can go 12 deep, like they can legitimately go 12 deep, and Isaiah Joe can give you 25. Aaron Wiggins can go off. The other Jalen Williams is a real NBA player that we don't talk about. They have so many guys that are they're grooming while they're winning with all their picks, with some other interesting. Like I saw Jalen Williams, he doesn't qualify now to make the All-Star game. which saves them $48 million of him getting it. It's just like, this guy can't miss. This guy,
so they can use that.
They could use that now to go. Like, it is insane. The European kid who went down with the cancer too. Hope he's doing well, but he's a stud. Like, he's one of the most highly talented players in the league, and we haven't even seen him play yet. So like, it's ridiculous how good they are now. It's ridiculous how good their future is. And for such a young team, they shouldn't play this mature. They shouldn't defend this well, and they shouldn't play this hard. It is ridiculous what they're doing.
And here we are. And Boogie, that's the thing too, is like when you talk about them any given night, it's new names, right? Like if you're a casual fan, you're like, who the heck are these people? I'm not watching every night. They got new guys any night of the week that can show up. Is the deepest team that you've seen in the last 20 years? Can you think of one that had more depth?
I mean, the closest would be that, Warriors team. And I think they have way more talent, way more depth than that team. And at every position. I think this is the new dynasty, obviously. We can't speak highly enough on this group of guys. They love playing with one another. They're young. They got youth on their side. It's like watching a well-coached AAU team every single night with the energy they play with, the camaraderie they play with. I mean, this is the perfect team. And it's also the perfect situation within their organization as far as where they are right now, moving forward for the next 3, 4, 5 years. Like, this is the perfect situation. And I mean, it's not much more you can really say. I mean, you can't compliment this situation enough. This is a really perfect situation for everybody involved.
Remember, Chandler, when we were like, all right, if you had Jalen Williams and SGA captain up and pick teams, right? And we do like a B team for the Thunder and an A team. Let's continue with that thought because I can't stop thinking about it. Let's say we have a Thunder B team, but on this one, you've got both Jalen Williams, you got Wallace, you got Mitchell, you got Chet, and you throw them in the Eastern Conference. Boom, over under 42. Talk to me.
Over, and they make the playoffs. And I want the same coaching staff, though, and I want some guys that we've never heard of yet that are going to turn into AJ Mitchells and those type of people.
Hold on, that ain't how that works. That ain't how that works.
He wants clones, Lou. We're close.
That ain't how that works, bro.
Can I get a bench? I need a bench.
No, you can get.
No, you want clone coaches.
AJ Mitchell, Casey Wallace, Jason Williams, Jalen Williams.
Frank as the coach.
No, you're not getting Lawrence Frank as the coach.
You're trying to move the goalpost, Chandler. But listen, with this team,
I'm just saying,
like they're making the playoffs and competing in it. I still think this is a playoff team.
Yeah, and I think they are too. I'm just wondering who my bench is. But yes, I think that starting five. I think that's a playoff starting five in the Eastern Conference. Yes, awesome. And that's taking the MVP off of it.
Yeah, it really is. Although you could argue, is that the B team? Because I feel like, I'm just reading it over and over again. I feel like you've taken 2 of the 3. Is that the B team, really? It's like A-.
And by the way, you still got like Caruso or Hartenstein or Aaron Wiggins.
Dort.
Those guys are still coming off the bench, too. So, yeah, they're making the playoffs. Yeah,
you'll split the bench. Dude. So we all agree? Okay, that is I don't even know how to feel about that statement. They also still have up for grabs. What do they end up with for their tally for wins on this season? They're obviously on the road to a great one. These are the ideas, right? So if they hit 70 or more, fine. I feel like that's easy. But look at these other ones. We know how hard it is. It's impossible.
The fact that those numbers are on this
77.
You can bet that they lose 5 games.
Yeah, you can. You can do that.
That is ridiculous.
Are you betting that?
No, I do think they break the record though, but 77's nuts. I think they get 74.
74. Take it $1.
That's the one I was looking at. I was about to say 74 looked doable to me. That looked real good.
It's crazy.
I know,
because Steve Kerr said it would never be broken. You're doing 75? Yes.
Yeah, I'm going 75.
Okay, I like go big or go home. So everyone thinks they're breaking the record. We're so nonchalant about it.
Can you picture them losing like 2 in a row? Like I can't.
It would have to be something crazy.
The only thing that I can see that can mess this up is if they start doing some load management stuff at the end of the season where they're trying to go into the postseason healthy and they drop a few based on that. Like if you literally rest everybody, that's the only thing that I can see getting in the way of this. The
average age is 23. It's no longer.
Yeah, I don't think load management
exists. And
exists.
also, they don't have to. Because SGA doesn't even have to play fourth quarter. Like they're doing
these
it every
all
night
young
anyways, the
puppies.
right way.
Yeah.
And we
God,
just
it's
said that
scary.
even if half the team rests, the other half is a playoff team in the East, so they still should win the game.
All right, I'm taking 76 wins. Boom. Let's make it happen. Put $1 on it. Taking a very quick break. We'll come back on the other side with more Run It Back.
Run it up, then run it back, run it back, run it up, run it back.
This was the bad news category, of course, yesterday. Zion Williamson, by the way, just returning, will now be out a minimum of 3 weeks with a right adductor injury, that's reed groin injury. And I feel bad for the guy, Boogie, because there's the cynical party that like kind of rolls your eyes and goes, man, we are never going to ever see this. What do you make when you saw this news yesterday? Your reaction was what?
Freaky Z got to slow down on the extracurricular.
Okay, I'm out of here. Have a nice day.
When it showed up the groin injury, I mean, if you know, you know. So I think this just piles on into an already horrible season for the Pelicans. It sucks. It's unfortunate.
I love when Boogie lead off. Listen,
I'm
please.
tired of talking
I
about him.
love when you lead
yours,
off.
bud.
We never know what's gonna come from that when you lead off. Go ahead, brother. I'm a lead back, man.
Oh my goodness.
I mean,
Again.
I'm fatigued at this point in talking about him and his injuries. I just wish the kid would get it together, play a consistent, full season. All the talent is there. It's hard to even, really put your finger on what the exact issue is. He came into shape. He came into the season in shape, probably the best we've seen him since his Duke days. He did everything he was supposed to do. Injuries are a part of the game, but when you have such a history of it, you kind of lose that grace, to where people, will give you an opportunity to come back for or even feel sorry for you. At this point, it's just kind of an eye roll, and it's like, here we go again. So, like I said, I wish the kid the best. I really, really hope, he can figure it out as far as his health. As far as the Pelicans, I'm pretty sure they're looking to, change this situation, move on from it at this point. It's maybe been 5, 6, 7 seasons so far. They haven't really gotten anything out of this. So it's time at this point. I think that's the pretty obvious, conversation right now in New Orleans.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead. Sorry,
as someone that's been hurt my entire career pretty much too, I do feel for the guy. And this summer, I feel like it was different. For some reason, I got duped by the facial hair. I got duped by the facial hair pictures. It looked real good. Like it really did. And when he plays, man, he is so good. That's the only thing that kind of just pains me because this dude is an all-world talent and he is so fun to watch. And this team desperately needs him. This team is built for him to be healthy, to have a chance, and he's not been healthy. And I don't know if he ever will be. And that's the scary part for this franchise and for Zion. And look, they're 3-19, so everything is even more frustrating than it would be if they were winning some games. And Zion's only played 10 games, and now he's at least 3 weeks, which probably means more than that. So I don't know if you hear the rumors of him doing everything that matters now and changing his diet and all that stuff, and it's still not enough. So I don't know what else the kid can do, but I feel for him.
Am I wrong that I don't have a reaction?
No, I think it's numb.
I wish him well as a person, but as a hooper, I ain't seen you hoop enough, so I don't have a reaction.
And if you know, you know, and that might be my favorite part of today's show. Because if you don't know, I don't know what to tell you. We'll see y'all tomorrow.